The Los Angeles Dodgers are at it again, and this time they're eyeing a bargain that could completely reshape their championship roster for years to come. While the baseball world obsesses over the flashy names and astronomical contracts dominating headlines, the Dodgers front office is quietly positioning themselves to pull off what insiders are calling the steal of the offseason. Fresh off their World Series triumph, the reigning champions aren't resting on their laurels. Instead, they're doing what they do best, finding elite talent at a fraction of the cost, while everyone else burns through their budgets chasing household names. The NPB posting system has just released another wave of Japanese talent, and among the newly available players is first baseman Kazuma Okamoto, a name that should have every Dodgers fan sitting up and paying attention. This isn't just another international signing. This could be the missing piece that takes an already dominant Dodgers lineup and transforms it into something truly unstoppable. While teams like the Yankees and Mets throw around money like confetti at a parade, the Dodgers are playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers. Kazuma Okamoto isn't a name that casual baseball fans recognize yet, but that's about to change in a major way. The powerhouse slugger from the Yomiuri Giants has been absolutely terrorizing NPB pitching for years, and now he's finally taking his talents to Major League Baseball. Standing as one of Japan's most consistent power threats, Okamoto brings a resume that would make any front office drool. But here's where it gets interesting. The Dodgers aren't just looking at him as another bat in the lineup. They're seeing something much bigger, something that could solve multiple problems while barely making a dent in their payroll flexibility. Let's talk numbers, because the statistics tell a story that should have Dodger Stadium buzzing with anticipation. This past season, Okamoto posted a staggering .322 batting average across 2 leagues in Japan, but that's just scratching the surface. His OPS sits at an eye-popping .992, paired with a .411 on-base percentage that would immediately make him one of the most reliable table setters in the Dodgers lineup. Think about that for a moment. In an era where getting on base has become baseball's most valuable commodity, Okamoto has mastered the art of reaching base at a level that rivals some of the best in the game. The on-base percentage might actually be the most crucial statistic here, and it's exactly what the Dodgers have been desperately seeking. Los Angeles already has the Thunder with Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, and Freddie Freeman in their lineup. What they need are players who can consistently get on base ahead of these bashers, setting the table for the kind of explosive innings that demoralize opposing pitchers. Okamoto fits that description perfectly, and he's been doing it at an elite level for 3 consecutive seasons in Japan's top professional league. According to detailed analysis from Bleacher Report, Okamoto represents what scouts are calling the bumper bowling version when compared to his countryman Munetaka Murakami. Now, before anyone takes that as an insult, let's break down what that actually means and why it's incredible news for the Dodgers. The comparison highlights Okamoto's ability to make consistent contact with fewer strikeouts while showing improved performance against high-velocity pitching. In today's MLB, where strikeout rates have skyrocketed and pitchers are throwing harder than ever, having a player who can consistently put the ball in play against triple-digit heat is worth its weight in gold. But wait, there's more. Okamoto isn't just a first baseman locked into one position. He's also been evaluated as a playable third baseman, and here's where things get really spicy. Over the past 3 seasons, he's logged 24 games in the outfield. Sure, that's not a massive sample size, but it demonstrates versatility that the Dodgers absolutely love in their roster construction. This is a team that won a World Series by deploying a next-man-up philosophy, constantly shuffling positions and keeping fresh legs in the lineup. Okamoto's ability to potentially man multiple positions makes him exactly the type of Swiss Army knife player that thrives in the Dodgers system. Imagine the possibilities here. On any given night, the Dodgers could slot Okamoto at first base to give Freddie Freeman a well-deserved rest day. Freeman has been sensational, but he's also dealt with more injury issues than the team would like over recent seasons. Having a legitimate replacement who won't crater the lineup when Freeman needs a breather is invaluable. Or maybe Max Muncy needs a day off from third base, and suddenly Okamoto slides over to the hot corner. The defensive metrics might not be Gold Glove caliber, but adequate defense combined with his bat profile makes him playable anywhere the Dodgers need him. And here's the nuclear option that could blow this whole thing wide open. What if the Dodgers tried him in the outfield? Now, before the purists start screaming about defensive inefficiency, hear this out. Okamoto's most recent season saw him exclusively at first and third base, but that outfield experience exists in his background. If the Dodgers strike out on their primary outfield targets, or if Okamoto's bat forces its way into the everyday lineup, having that flexibility to experiment with him in the outfield could uncover a hidden gem. The Dodgers have turned unlikely outfielders into productive defenders before. Their player development system is second to none, and with their advanced analytics and defensive positioning, they could absolutely maximize whatever defensive tools Okamoto possesses. Let's address the elephant in the room, translating NPB success to MLB performance. It's a legitimate question that deserves serious consideration. Japanese baseball and American baseball are different games played under different conditions with different equipment. The ball is different, the strike zone is different, and the overall level of competition presents a significant jump. History is littered with NPB stars who struggled to adjust to life in the majors. But here's the thing, recent history tells a very different story, especially for players with Okamoto's profile. The track record for NPB position players making the jump has been remarkably strong over the past decade. Players with comparable statistics and skill sets to Okamoto have not just survived in MLB, they've thrived. Look at Seiya Suzuki, who came over with similar fanfare and has been a productive major leaguer for the Cubs. Or consider Masataka Yoshida, who signed with the Red Sox and immediately became a fixture in their lineup. The statistical comparison puts Okamoto right in the middle of these two players, slightly better than Suzuki in some metrics and comparable to Yoshida in others. Both of those players commanded significantly larger contracts than what Okamoto is projected to receive, which brings us to perhaps the most compelling part of this entire discussion: the money. Oh, the beautiful, budget-friendly money. Current projections have Okamoto signing somewhere in the range of 3 to 5 years at $12 to $17 million annually. Let's split the difference and call it $15 million per year as a baseline. Now compare that to what the Dodgers would pay for other available options. Cody Bellinger, the former MVP who's been linked to a potential Dodgers reunion, is expected to command around $30 million per season. Kyle Tucker, the Astros superstar who would cost multiple top prospects in a trade plus a massive contract extension, is looking at somewhere north of $50 million annually. Okamoto represents a 50% discount compared to Bellinger and a 75% discount compared to Tucker. That's not just budget-friendly, that's an absolute heist. But the value proposition goes even deeper than simple salary comparisons. The Dodgers are already committed to massive contracts for Ohtani, Betts, Freeman, and Yoshinobu Yamamoto. They've got Tyler Glasnow locked up long-term and various other significant commitments scattered throughout the roster. While they have more financial flexibility than almost any team in baseball, even the Dodgers have limits on how much they can reasonably spend before luxury tax penalties become genuinely painful. By targeting Okamoto instead of the marquee names, they preserve precious payroll space to address other needs or make another splash down the road. It's the kind of shrewd financial maneuvering that has kept the Dodgers competitive year after year, while other big spending teams cycle through boom and bust periods. Think about what $15 million per year buys you in today's market. That's barely above mid-level starting pitcher money. That's what teams pay for solid but unspectacular relief pitchers or fourth outfielders who can't hit. Getting a potential everyday player with legitimate power and elite on-base skills for that price is borderline criminal. If Okamoto delivers even 80% of his NPB production at the major league level, he'll be one of the best value signings in recent memory. And if he exceeds expectations, the Dodgers will have pulled off highway robbery in broad daylight. There's another crucial angle that can't be ignored. The Dodgers have established themselves as the premier destination for Japanese players, and that relationship pays dividends in unexpected ways. When Shohei Ohtani chose Los Angeles, it wasn't just about the massive contract or the warm weather, it was about the organization's track record with Japanese players and their commitment to creating an environment where international stars can thrive. Yoshinobu Yamamoto followed shortly after, reinforcing the Dodgers as the American home for Japan's elite talent. And if Roki Sasaki gets posted, you better believe the Dodgers will be at the front of the line. This Japanese pipeline isn't just about collecting talent from one country. It's about creating a culture within the clubhouse that helps these players transition to life in America and adjust to the demands of Major League Baseball. When Okamoto arrives in Los Angeles, he won't be the lone Japanese player trying to navigate a foreign country and an unfamiliar league. He'll have Ohtani, arguably the most famous athlete on the planet, and a fellow countryman who can guide him through every challenge. He'll have Yamamoto, who just went through the posting process and international adjustment himself. The support system is already built in, which dramatically increases the likelihood of a successful transition. And speaking of built-in support, let's talk about Kike Hernandez. The veteran utility man and fan favorite is currently a free agent, but all signs point to him returning to the Dodgers for another run. Why does this matter for Okamoto? Because Hernandez has already publicly connected to the Japanese star. In social media posts and interviews, Kike mentioned playing with Okamoto during exhibition games and being impressed by his raw talent. He specifically noted how cool it was to see Okamoto featured on the wall of Giants legends at Tokyo Dome early in his career, acknowledging both the player's ability and his significance in Japanese baseball. Having a veteran teammate who already knows you, respects your game, and can vouch for you in the clubhouse is invaluable for any international player trying to find their footing in a new league. The Dodgers don't just have relationships with Japanese players, they've built an entire organizational philosophy around maximizing international talent. Their front office has invested heavily in scouts who understand the NPB game, in translators who can facilitate communication, and in player development staff who understand the adjustments required for international players. When the Dodgers target an NPB player, it's not a shot in the dark or a gamble based on highlight reels. It's a calculated decision backed by years of data, relationships, and proven success in integrating these players into their system. So what would a Dodgers lineup look like with Okamoto in the fold? The possibilities are genuinely mouthwatering. Imagine a batting order that features Mookie Betts leading off with his combination of power and speed, followed by Shohei Ohtani in the two-hole doing Shohei things. Freddie Freeman slots in at cleanup, still one of the most dangerous hitters in baseball. Then here comes Okamoto at the 5 spot, offering that elite on-base ability with sneaky power that keeps opposing managers from pitching around Freeman. Suddenly, you've got 4 straight hitters who can change a game with one swing, but more importantly, 4 hitters who make it incredibly difficult for pitchers to navigate the lineup without giving up runs. The depth and quality throughout that order would be suffocating for opposing pitching staffs. The defensive configuration offers similar flexibility and intrigue. Maybe the Dodgers open the season with Okamoto as the primary backup to Freeman at first base, easing him into MLB life with a reduced workload while he adjusts to American pitching. As the season progresses and Freeman needs more regular rest, Okamoto's playing time increases organically. By playoff time, the Dodgers have a fully acclimated player who can step into any role required. Or perhaps Okamoto's bat is too good to keep out of the lineup, and the Dodgers get creative with position assignments. Freeman shifts to DH duties on certain days. Okamoto mans first base, and suddenly the team has found a way to keep multiple elite bats in the lineup simultaneously. The outfield experiment remains the wild card scenario, but it's not as crazy as it might initially sound. The Dodgers won their recent World Series by embracing versatility and constantly adjusting their roster to exploit favorable matchups. If Okamoto shows any aptitude for outfield play during spring training, don't be surprised if the team gives him legitimate reps out there. Modern defensive metrics and positioning strategies have made it possible to hide below-average defenders in ways that weren't feasible even a decade ago. If Okamoto's bat profiles as well as expected, the Dodgers will find a way to get him into the lineup, even if it means some defensive creativity. Let's also consider the broader roster construction implications. By securing Okamoto at a reasonable price point, the Dodgers maintain the financial flexibility to pursue other needs. They've been linked to various pitching options, both starting and relief. They could still make a play for an impact outfielder if the right opportunity emerges. The beauty of the Okamoto signing, if it happens, is that it addresses a need without foreclosing other opportunities. Compare that to committing $50 million per year to Kyle Tucker, which would likely end their major shopping spree before it really begins. The Dodgers are playing the long game here, understanding that roster construction is about finding value at every position, not just spending the most money on the biggest names. There's also something to be said about the message this sends throughout the organization and to the rest of baseball. The Dodgers are coming off a World Series championship, and instead of resting on their laurels or making splashy signings just for the publicity, they're methodically identifying players who fit their system and improve the roster. They're not chasing yesterday's stars or overpaying for name recognition. They're finding players in their prime or approaching their prime who can contribute immediately while fitting into the team's financial structure. It's the kind of organizational discipline that separates dynasties from one-hit wonders. The player development aspect can't be overstated either. The Dodgers have become renowned for their ability to unlock potential in players that other organizations couldn't maximize. They take veteran cast-offs and turn them into productive role players. They take prospects with obvious flaws and refine them into everyday contributors. With Okamoto, they're getting a player who's already elite in one professional league and molding him for success in another. The organization's track record suggests they'll identify the exact adjustments needed for Okamoto to succeed and implement them systematically. Whether that's tweaking his swing path for American pitching, adjusting his approach against certain pitch types, or refining his defensive positioning, the Dodgers have the infrastructure to maximize his talent. Now let's talk about the contact ability, because this might be the most underrated aspect of Okamoto's game. In an era where strikeout rates have exploded across baseball and three true outcome players have become the norm, Okamoto represents something increasingly rare, a power hitter who consistently puts the ball in play. The bumper bowling comparison from scouts specifically highlighted his ability to avoid strikeouts compared to other power hitters. In practical terms, this means more balls in play, more pressure on opposing defenses, and more opportunities for things to go right for your offense. It means fewer rally-killing strikeouts with runners in scoring position. It means the ability to move runners over when needed and adjust his approach based on game situations. The Dodgers saw firsthand during their championship run how valuable contact ability becomes in high-leverage playoff situations. When pitchers are amped up and throwing their best stuff, the ability to put the bat on the ball and make something happen becomes exponentially more important. Okamoto's profile suggests he's exactly the type of hitter who could thrive in October baseball, where at-bats become more valuable and every pitch carries added weight. Having another weapon in the arsenal who won't collapse under the pressure of playoff pitching gives the Dodgers yet another advantage when the games matter most. The velocity aspect deserves special attention as well. Modern MLB pitching is defined by heat. Gone are the days when touching 95 miles per hour made you an elite fastball pitcher. Now, middle relievers are regularly pumping triple digits, and starting pitchers are maintaining upper 90s velocity deep into games. For hitters making the jump from NPB to MLB, adjusting to this velocity spike represents one of the most significant challenges. The fact that Okamoto has specifically shown improved performance against high-velocity pitching in Japan suggests he has the bat speed and hand-eye coordination to handle MLB heat. This isn't a player who's going to be overwhelmed by power arms. He's already demonstrating the ability to catch up to premium velocity, which bodes extremely well for his transition. Let's address some potential concerns because no player profile is perfect, and Okamoto certainly has questions to answer. The defensive metrics from his time in Japan aren't particularly inspiring. He's adequate at best at first base and third base, and the outfield experience is too limited to draw meaningful conclusions. However, defense at these positions, particularly first base, is somewhat less critical than premium defensive positions like shortstop or center field. The Dodgers aren't expecting Gold Glove defense here. They're looking for a bat that can play competent defense at multiple positions. If Okamoto can be league average or slightly below defensively while providing the offensive production his track record suggests, that's more than acceptable. The age factor is worth considering as well. Okamoto is older than some other NPB stars who've made the jump recently, which potentially limits his upside compared to younger players who might still be developing. However, this also means he's a more finished product who should be ready to contribute immediately rather than needing years to develop. For a team in win-now mode like the Dodgers, getting a player in his prime who can help immediately is actually preferable to a younger player with higher theoretical upside but more development required. The Dodgers have their foundational superstars locked up long-term. What they need are complementary pieces who can contribute right now to championship pursuits. The projected contract length of 3 to 5 years aligns perfectly with the Dodgers' competitive window. Their core stars are under contract for the foreseeable future, and adding Okamoto on a similar timeline means the team can maintain roster continuity while maximizing their chances at multiple championships. There's also minimal risk involved at these price points. If Okamoto struggles to adjust to MLB pitching and the signing doesn't work out, the Dodgers can absorb that contract hit without it crippling their financial flexibility. The downside risk is minimal, while the upside potential is enormous. When you step back and look at the complete picture, this potential signing checks every box the Dodgers should be looking for. It addresses roster needs at multiple positions, provides financial flexibility to pursue other upgrades, brings elite on-base ability to a lineup that can always use more table setters, and capitalizes on the organization's established strength in integrating Japanese players. The combination of factors makes this feel less like a gamble and more like an inevitability. When the Dodgers target a player who fits their model this perfectly, they tend to get their man. The timing couldn't be better either. With Okamoto and other Japanese players hitting the posting system right now, the Dodgers can make their moves before the broader free agent market completely develops. They can secure their targets while other teams are still evaluating their options and before bidding wars drive prices into the stratosphere. Being aggressive early in the offseason is straight out of the Dodgers' playbook, and it's served them well in previous years. Strike while the iron is hot, secure your targets, and then watch the rest of the market scramble to keep up. This also plays into the larger narrative of how the Dodgers have built their dynasty. They don't rely on any single strategy or player acquisition method. They combine massive free agent signings with shrewd trades, top-tier draft picks with international signings, and veteran additions with homegrown talent. The Okamoto pursuit represents another arrow in their organizational quiver, another way to add quality players at reasonable prices while their competitors overspend elsewhere. It's roster construction as art form, and the Dodgers are painting a masterpiece. For Dodgers fans wondering what this means for their team's immediate future, the answer should get you excited. Adding Okamoto potentially solves the depth issues at multiple infield positions while providing another dangerous bat for an already stacked lineup. It gives manager Dave Roberts incredible flexibility in how he constructs his daily lineup and manages workload throughout the grueling MLB season. It provides insurance against injuries that inevitably occur over 162 games plus playoffs. Most importantly, it makes an already championship-caliber team demonstrably better without requiring the kind of financial commitment that would limit future moves. The comparison to other recent Dodgers signings is instructive. When they added Yamamoto last offseason, many observers questioned whether they really needed another elite starting pitcher. Then injuries hit, rotation depth became tested, and having that extra ace became crucial to their championship run. The same logic applies here. Do the Dodgers absolutely need Kazuma Okamoto to compete for championships? Probably not, but having him makes the margin for error larger, the roster deeper, and the team harder to beat over a full season and playoff run. Championship teams are built on depth and quality throughout the roster, not just top-heavy star power. The clubhouse fit seems almost seamless as well. The Dodgers have cultivated a culture that values professionalism, preparation, and team-first mentality. Okamoto's reputation in Japan suggests he embodies these exact qualities. He's not a flashy superstar who demands attention or creates distractions. He's a baseball player who shows up, does his job at an elite level, and helps his team win games. That's precisely the type of personality that thrives in the Dodgers environment. Adding another voice in the clubhouse who understands what it takes to win and who brings a professional approach daily only strengthens the team's foundation.